Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and I wanted to make just a Zizaran thoughts video about the new bosses and how I feel about them, and also just the race as well, I guess. So in 3.17, we've gotten 4 new bosses. We have 2 smaller ones, the Black Star and the really annoying boss, which is what we'll refer to the blue mini boss, and the Eater of Worlds and the Staring Exarch. So we can start talking about the Black Star first. It's an amazing fight. It's a beautiful arena. Half is red, half is blue, and it's rotating. It's not necessarily super intuitive, but you can figure it out pretty quickly how it works, especially on software where you do get to die. I went in blind and pretty much insta-killed myself. Part of that is also that the blue, like the Astral Avalanche, even the highest I've seen somebody get one-shot with is 10 fire stacks. That's because there seems to be some crazy shotgunning on blue, especially near the spawn, if you're not on the other side. And obviously a lot of people hide behind the pillars, but that's also very easy to get clipped on hardcore and die. So all in all though, I do not think this fight needs a large amount of switches or like a lot of things switched, but incredibly low HP. Now, I really like how low HP they have the first time you kill them. I think that's amazing on all of them. Now, I do think the HP pool of all the bosses in their tutorial version when you can't roll them is really good. I don't think that should be changed at all. I think it's great because that allows new players to get void stones without much difficulty. And then they have, yeah, it gets harder once you've done them once, even if you don't roll the fight. And Maven and Uber Elder is still hard. So you have goals to work towards. So that's great. They're in a good spot. And the difficulty doesn't need to increase at all on the green ones. I do, however, wish all the fights had either a Uber version or that it was a lot harder when you have the rolled version, even unrolled. It is harder, but it is not hard enough. I really like stages on actual boss fights, I feel. I didn't think I did because they're so annoying on map bosses. But when you're actually fighting pinnacle boss fights, I think it's straight up disappointing whenever it becomes the best way is to just literally burst it down to avoid any mechanics. I just don't think that's good or healthy, right? I think it's important to be able to deal with a boss and actually dodge mechanics. Like, it's never been super fun when, for a while, the meta for Ubers here was doing blade fall traps for anime weapon and just insta-killing the boss, and then you didn't even need any defense, right? I've never really thought that was a good thing. So I definitely like to see the HP pool buffed. Now, I am not a big fan of rolled bosses to begin with. I really like the normal Itziri and Uber Itziri concept. I think that's amazing and should be applied to every boss. And I love the tutorial aspect of the green invitations being very easy, teaching you the mechanics, and then the harder versions later. I think that's great. But especially with rolled versions, and this is pretty much for all of the new bosses, I was very surprised to see that they don't have a new mod pool or some sort of hybrid mods. Because the only mods that would be bad to roll, especially on software, which is where the majority of people are playing, would be anything with life, resists, or anything lowering your damage, right? Even on hardcore, I'm rolling damage mods because the boss, they don't really do much even with damage mods. However, HP mods, they would be really bad because they would actually make the fight hard. I would actually have to deal with the mechanics and changes or challenges. So I was expecting different mods. I was expecting, some slight attack speed and hybrid life, or extra global damage and hybrid life. I was expecting, at the very least, that anything you rolled added to the life pool, and, that it made a significant increase to the drop table. Like maybe, what if you get to a certain amount of quant and it guarantees a eye? Right? What if you have 90%, like a Vald one, and it guarantees an eye and a chance of a second, or like whatever the new jewel is called. And same with being able to drop multiple loots, but when you actually do really challenging ones. Now, on top of that, what I was really expecting was it to have its own set of mods. Like, for example, the Staring Exarch could have a mod that Maven can remove fewer balls, right? So you have more you need to flame dash through. Or balls move faster, and then you can have different tiers. Really, really high quant, it would be like 60% faster, 40, 20, 10. For the Eater Worlds or whatever, you could have that there are more balls that you need to go through. I was expecting a lot more unique things like that. the Black Star could have more minions being summoned, or that it's spinning faster, or that the charges go up faster or slower. I think it's kind of lazy to just slap in the normal map mods, in my opinion. So I would love to see some changes there. I'm not a huge fan of the rollable stuff to begin with, but at least like do something more with it. And then with the new Eldritch currency, I think that's really good to begin with. I really love the system. I'm very surprised at how little difference there is between Grand and the Exalted one. I think the Exalted one should pretty much, actually, I think it should be guaranteed from the bosses. Because it's pretty easy to get a few hundred of the second highest tier. And it's crazy that you can't even drop multiple of the highest tier. Because it's not a huge difference. And it just feels a little... weird. Obviously, they're getting more unique items because people that won the race are deciding unique items for it. That would be really cool. Very excited for that. Currently, a lot of people, like I was on a podcast yesterday with like Baylor, Catmaster, and Lily, and I've talked to a lot of other people, and a lot of other people are expecting these to get Uber versions. A lot of people are like, yeah, but this is just the first bosses. They're gonna make an Uber version of this, like next league. And I'm like, I don't think so. That would be very going back to 2016. So when I'm like looking at what Path of Exile do, I generally look at the last 2 years, right? I don't look 3 or 4 years back, because think about how different everything was then. When Shaper and Uber came out, we were also in a lot more primitive leagues, right? And it's not that far ago back then that softcore and hardcore had different leagues. And we had leagues like Onslaught, where it was, here's 5 new unique items and a wipe, and monsters attack faster now, right? Like, we used to have a lot more primitive leagues. I don't think we're getting Uber versions of these fights, but I do hope they improve them. I would love to get Uber versions, like a version where you're fighting all of them, or, you know, both of the big bosses would be very cool. So, I don't know. I just wanted to make this video, see what you guys think. Also, if you are posting, like, let me know what type of player you are, because obviously somebody that's like no-lifing or is a casual player will have a different experience. I especially want to know, like, how do casual players feel about the tutorial mode? Because I would imagine and hope that is a really good thing for newer players, that they can get those void stones. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted. I just wanted like a little rant about the new bosses. And before I end, the Eater of Worlds also kind of has too few abilities. I feel like both the 2 big ones could have another big ability. Oh, actually, never mind. Oh my god, not ending. I almost had like mentally suppressed how much I hate the blue annoying boss. Oh my god, please rework that entire fight. Like, first off, it should probably, if it's gonna teleport you to a second hellscape landscape, that is very confusing, and I've not seen anyone like it. But if you are one of the 12 people that do like the fight, please say something. But I hate the blue mini boss so much that when they teleport you to a second stage, at least it could be like one like plateau that you had to run at and fight off monsters. And the debuff should be a lot slower, but like, it's so unclear where to go. It's like, I think it's flowing in this direction, and then I like start to move towards it, and I'm like, nah, fuck this, I'm logging out. This boss doesn't drop enough uniques to be worth killing to begin with. At least it's, you know, you don't have to kill it. I was actually surprised. I always thought you had to kill one small one, then you could kill a big one. But you can just stack up big invitations and kill those. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Sub if you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and more importantly, try to die less than I do.